Hello, Facebook friends. Today is Wednesday, April 25th, and I'm here with your daily Y&R review. Hopefully, I can fit this one all into one. It starts out with Neil, is at Catherine's, and he kind of, was surprised that she was there. And he told her that, he came for business. He had some contracts for her to look over and sign, and he redid some negotiations. And she was like, "Is this something that had to be done today? Like, you couldn't have waited?" And he said, "Well, I'm just so excited about it. Um, I want you to look over it and all that today." And she says, she questions him about it. Like, "Is that really why you were here?" And um, she asked him, was he really there to see Harmony and not her? So Ashley and Tucker are talking. She's questioning him about Beauty of Nature and Jen, and she's asking him, "Is this really something you want to get into? I thought you were through with this whole Beauty of Nature thing, and are you sure what you're getting into?" Daisy is explaining to Phyllis and Nick what happened at Fenmore's, how Lauren pulled the gun out on her, and they're like not believing her that Lauren would even do that. But she's reassuring them that that's what happened and she wouldn't lie about nothing like that. So Michael storms into the police station like, "What happened? What's wrong?" And Jill explains what happened with, Daisy and the gun and everything. So the police come out with the gun and they show Michael the gun. He was like, "I've never seen that gun before." She didn't have a gun. He didn't even know she had a gun. So Jill told him that she knew about the gun. And he was like, "Well, how long did you know about the gun?" And she was like, "Since about February." And he said that's when Daisy had gotten out. And so it went on to commercial break, comes back. Neil tells Catherine that he did come to see Harmony, and that they always butt heads about this whole Devon thing, so that's why he came to see her. And so she said that she hopes that they work their problems out, and he said he does too, and she leaves. Harmony and Neil exchange words like, "I told you not to come here, what are you doing?" And he's like, let's put everything on the table." And then it goes back to Ashley and Tucker disagreeing about the Jen and the Beauty of Nature thing and his decision on going in with her. And she tells him, "You competing against my family, and we're supposed to be a couple and married and all that, and you still, going trying to get this Beauty of Nature things." And she said, Why can't you just walk away?" And he said, "You're my wife, and I love you, and I don't want to lie to you, but I don't think that he could do what she's I don't think I can do what you're asking me to do." So Daisy says that she didn't come for advice. She came to see Daniel. She said she's a good person and she hadn't been in any trouble since she got out of prison, and she don't know why, this would have happened. And so she left. Phyllis and Nick, they leave to go to police. Phyllis is like, I believe her from what something that happened a while back. We need to get to the police station. So they leave. Michael goes in to see Lauren in the little room, and she apologizes. They hug. He questions her about the gun. She says she had bought it and to protect her family, and she had, got the license for it. She went to training for it. She got the papers. She didn't carry it around. It was mostly at the business. And he said we shouldn't even have a gun. And she said that she was she he asked her, what happened about the whole Daisy thing, and said she had come in and she just was unstable and she just couldn't help herself, so that was the only way she knew how to defend herself. And he said, "Well, today you lost control." She said the gun made her feel like she had control over her situation, and he said, "Well, today you lost control." And she said she don't know, so something inside of her snapped. So Tucker is explaining to Ashley about how bad he wanted Beauty of Nature, and if she could see things from his perspective, then she'll understand, And she tells him, "Why don't you, since everything is settled with Beauty of Nature, why don't you go back and talk with Sophia, get Sophia back? She'll know what to do, and you guys just, stick together like y'all have always done." And he tells her, "Well, the thing that went on with me and Sophia was a lie. It was a ploy." And it when she gave a look. So Neil felt bad that Harmony didn't go to the dinner. He was telling Sophia he felt bad that she wasn't able to. They sat down on the sofa. He felt bad that she wasn't able to go to dinner because of Sophia. And he tells her he missed her there and he misses her at the things that they have. And he wants to act like nothing has changed between them. And she said, well, I can't do that because, things have changed. And he said that uh, he, uh, he said, well, how could you say that? Well, you the one that told me that it was just a kiss. And she said, well, I lied. She said, I liked it. I really liked it. And she can't be around him with those kind of feelings like that. And she said it was more than just a kiss to her. And he said it meant something to him too. And it's not easy to be around her after that kiss as well. So she looked shocked. Phyllis and Nick hear what happened from Jill. Jill said what happened, how, Daisy came up and kind of riled Lauren up a little bit to get her to do it. And Jill told Phyllis that, she knew Lauren had the gun. And Phyllis was like, I know she told me too that she had a gun. And Nick looked like surprised, like, what? You knew too? So Lauren tells Michael what happened with Daisy, how she came with a certificate, and she kind of told her that she didn't want her to shop there, but she started, insisting on shopping there. And he said, well, what pushed your buttons? And she tell him that she said that the clothes were nice, and just like they look nice on Fenmore when he's at the school and all of that. And she said, so he said, so you feel like your child was being stalked? He's trying to question her like a lawyer, but still be her husband at the same time. So he reminds her that he is on her side. She's like, well, what would you do? If somebody was talking about your son like that, wouldn't you get upset and angry? And he's like, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. You don't have to be so upset. And she said, and before she knew it, she had the gun in her hand, and was just, aiming it at Daisy. So she said she never wanted to be she never wanted to be this kind of person, a burden to him. And he's like, you'll never be a burden to me. You're my wife and I love you, but you just can't continue on like this. So it goes back to Harmony, and Harmony asks Neil if he's been feeling like that all the time, and he said yes. And she said, every time I see you, I want to kiss you, hold you, or anything. And she said, I don't want to make any trouble for you and your family and Sophia and Moses. And he said, I know. And she said, I can't. He said that he cannot let it happen, that they can't let it happen again. When they see each other, they just kind of gotta let it dwindle away until they have no feelings for each other, because he can't let that happen. He can't, do that to his family or whatever. And she says, oh, that idea, sounds logical, but it would if I wasn't an addict. And he said, well, I'm an addict too. And she said, I'm an addict. I'm used to when I have something, I want it again and over and over. So I don't know how easy that's gonna be. And she says she can't assure him she won't try anything with Nate together, so he needs to help her out by like staying away. And he was like, well, will that be easy, because we both have a relationship with Devon? And she said, we're just gonna have to try our best. So Tucker said, and she was like, what? It was a whole lie. How could you do this? I'm your wife. Why couldn't you tell me this? And he was like, nobody knew. And so he said they didn't tell anybody. And but he did tell her. No, he said, yeah. He said that he didn't tell anybody, and he just didn't want anybody to know. She was like, but I'm your wife. Why do you think you couldn't tell me that? And she left, and he was like, don't, no, baby, don't go. But she had already walked away. So Avi has arrived at the jail, and Phyllis is like, what are you doing here? And she was like, I was with Michael at the coffee house when he got the phone call, and I went to try to get Lauren out tonight, but they wouldn't let her out. So she's there to help. And she said, she'll just stick around and wait to see what Michael wants to do next. So Michael insists that he and Lauren move out of their apartment. And she's like, well, no, I don't really want to move. And he said, well, we discussed this before this incident happened, and we're just gonna move, and that's it. And she was like, what about Fenmore? We were supposed to get him. And he said, well, we're just going to have to push that back a little bit, but Fenmore is fine where he is. So, we'll work that out when we finish with what you got going on. So the man came and told him that time was up, visitation was over. And so as they're leaving out, Lauren sees that Phyllis and Nick are there. And she's like, what are you guys doing here? And I'm so embarrassed. And they was like, don't be embarrassed. And Phyllis goes to try to hug her, and the guard is like, no touching the prisoner or whatever. And she looks all embarrassed and sad and down. Um, Michael reassures her that it's just for tonight. He'll see her tomorrow. They're gonna work on it. He's gonna take care of her and all that. So they go ahead and take Lauren away. And Phyllis, Michael's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Well, we're gonna get this worked out." And he's looking real tired and stressed. And Phyllis tells him, he's like, "Did she had a gun? She had a gun." And he was like, Phyllis is like, "Yeah, I know." And he said, "What did Jill tell you?" And she said, no, Phyllis tells Michael that Daisy came by the house. First, she tell Michael that Daisy came to her house, and Avery's like, she came to your door, and she's like, well, yeah, she came looking for Daniel, but he's out of town. And she told me what happened, and that's when we came over here. And that's when she tell Michael that he said she had a gun. Do you know she had a gun? And she said, yeah, I know she had the gun. And he said, what Jill told you? And she tell him, no, Michael told that Lauren told her a long time ago. So he got upset. He said, you didn't tell me this. I was we supposed to be friends. And he asked her, does she realize what she's just done? And they come back, and they go to the side, and they get to arguing about, if you would have told me this, the things would have been different, the charge could have been lesser if I'd have known that she had the gun. And Phyllis is like, well, she confided in me and it was confidential and I couldn't just go and tell. And he was like, confidence? But I'm your friend and this is a serious matter. You know how she feels about Daisy. And they go back and forth, and Nick and Avery are trying to calm them both down and lower their voices. And Michael's trying to say that it's Phyllis's fault that this whole thing is going on, and Phyllis is trying to defend herself with the whole matter. And so Avery says, okay, we all just need to go our separate way and cool off or whatever. Checking my time. So Jill is at Fenmore's, and her and Catherine are talking about Lauren and Daisy, and it was a whole big crazy thing. But Jill wants to open the Fenmore's back up, but she couldn't find anybody to come work. So Catherine volunteered and said she'll help out at the boutique. So Harmony said she would not neglect Devon because of the feelings that her and Neil have for one another. And he said, good, because I never wanted that to happen. She tells him that she really needs him to stay away from her, and he agrees to do that. And he said he doesn't want to make her life harder than it already is. And then he gets a phone call, and it's Sophia, and I guess she asked him to come to where she is, and he said he can come do that. And he tells her he has to leave, and she said, yeah, go be with your wife. And then they tell each other goodbye. I'm going to come back because my video is about to cut off, and I'll be right back with part 2.